Good evening to everybody watching at home. It is Thursday night. It is the Amigos racing team once again with your boy SuperSquid, joined in the booth by not one but two extraterrestrial sim racers, our resident aliens, Lankster and Dutchy. Lankster, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, good evening, Squid. How are you doing, my friend?
I am very well, thank you. And Dutchy, are you there, sir?
No. Hello there, good evening.
Good evening. Right, well, as you can see, we've got the Suzuki Swift Gr.4s on the show tonight. But it's not just a one-off race that we normally see, or a pair of races. We've got a little Swift Cup finale on the books tonight. If you want to get involved with Amigos racing team and possibly join our academy, stepping up to the main team, or just to have a laugh and some fun in some organised lobby madness on the weekly, please make sure you join our Discord in the link below. If that doesn't work, amigosracingteam.co.uk is the place to find it. So I guess we'll start with Dutchy while you're in the lobby first then. I know you've had a bit of a hand in organising the goings on for this evening. Just can you give us a bit about yourself? Like, how long have you been sim racing for, and what do you like to drive, and just about you for a bit?
Yeah, I started doing sim racing since 2015 actively. I started with Formula 1 and then later on Gran Turismo. Through the years, I finally bought a wheel and enjoyed racing more and more. Did a couple of leagues and then I found you guys, and since then I have a lot of fun at ART.
Fantastic. We love to hear it. And what are your thoughts on tonight's format with multiple races in the Swift Gr.4? Have you driven it much before?
Yes, I did, and that's why I chose this car. It's a good, fun, difficult car, but yeah, it could be close racing.
What's difficult about this car?
Yeah, if you approach your corner and you go off the throttle, the car has a lot of turn in. But when you exit the corner, the car is obviously having more understeer because it's the front wheel drive, and you have to manage the throttle control.
So with that in mind then, who do you think's going to handle this the best tonight, and is there any particular drivers you've kept your eye on since we had the academy running a few months ago?
Well, I couldn't always be there because on Thursday I had to work, but I heard a lot of Matt was improving big time. Voodoo was improving as well, helped him a lot.
And again, I think there are eyes maybe on with Matt and Dog, who represented us recently in a team versus team event. Do you think these guys are still the ones to watch, or is there someone else maybe near the back of the field who might be a surprise pick?
They of course are both two good drivers to watch, because they are doing also the Champ Series, and Dog has shown good potential driving out there. And I helped Keeney this evening, and he improved by his throttle control, and he has to memorize his braking, and that works pretty fine now.
Fantastic. We'll definitely keep an eye out for Keeney then. And I suppose before we let you go and get everything started, so Lay's in the chat, they're saying he's looking out for Matt, Chris, Sergeant Dog, and Mr. Alabama.
Nah.
Maybe not so much the prestige of Pitbull or Mr. Worldwide, but he's on the map nonetheless. Before we head off then, Dutchy, is there anything else you want to add for our doting viewers at home and your dedicated fan base?
Well, just enjoy, because a lot of fighting will be there out on track, and I will help them on the way to the party.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure to having you on. I hope your drivers and customers and students, however you want to call them, find your advice useful this evening, and best of luck. And let's see who comes out on top.
Yeah, thank you. Have fun with the comms.
Always do. Take care, bud.
See you.
Alright, so I guess it's just us two then, Lankster. What are your thoughts on tonight's events then before we get underway?
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Obviously, it was one that me, Dutchy and Hockers put together quite quickly one evening. We were just discussing what could be the next thing we were going to look at, and we thought, do you know what, we haven't had any elbows out racing with no fuel or tyre wear to look at, so we just want to see the guys, how they progressed obviously over the season, but without having any strategy, so they can let their hair down a little bit, and it's just going to be all out racing tonight. Obviously, it's going to be a Swift Cup mini series within the actual Academy series itself. So obviously drivers are going to get results and points for each race, but overall, at the end of the race, you're just going to have the top driver at the end of the 5 races is just going to get the ordinary score for the Academy, which will be added onto the total, which will cascade down. So we've got one-shot qualifying, which I'll put on very shortly. Then we're going to have 5 10-minute races, and then who knows what's going to happen and what's going to unfold this evening.
It seems that Dutchy's picks tonight are kind of on our newly promoted team members, Dog and Matt, and again a fantastic job to them for their efforts in our team versus team last week with Race Asylum. Are they your ones to watch tonight, or is there anyone else that you've got your eye on?
I've got my eye on Chris Chara as well at the moment. He's been putting in some good performances with us on Monday nights, so he's another one to watch. And obviously the rest of the guys, Voodoo, Kakalele, obviously Urban as well is obviously one of our moderators, but he does enjoy racing, so I'm hoping he can get up into the top 3 in a couple of the races. And we've got our honorary mod in tonight with us as well, as Elite Digits, who has improved vastly over the last few months. Although he's not part of the Academy, he's just getting back into sim racing after an illness that he's been away with. So he's back, just getting him involved tonight. Hopefully he can get a win tonight as well, which will boost his confidence with sim racing.
Of course, I think we're all glad to see Elite back in a more active role in Amigos. He's our head honcho in terms of the car aesthetics, some amazing liveries put on for the team, for the Academy, and just for anyone who really's asked for it in the community. So again, that's a huge merit to him on its own, but his racing will be something exciting to watch tonight, I'm sure. So it looks like we are just about getting ready for the qualifying, if I can jump back out of there.
Yeah, we'll just wait for everyone to ready up, and then I'll get qualifying underway.
I must say I'm really looking forward to this format. I think it's nice to see kind of the Gr.4. The Suzuki Swift doesn't really get much credit, especially in the dailies where the Nissan Silvia seems to dominate pretty much any Gr.4 race that you set, whether it's the Nations or the dailies. And I think it's going to really have some kind of BTCC style or TCR kind of close field, which would be really exciting for us.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. It's nice to see another one-make series. As I say, because of the bot details with the updates that we've recently had, it's singled out certain vehicles. So it's nice to use the ones that people don't drive that often, and we get to showcase these wonderful cars that Polyphony Digital have given us.
I think speaking of the cars they've given us, in the recent update we've got the older Alpha Giulia, which I'm sure we're going to see many different Fast and Furious 10 liveries in the next few days.
For sure.
What else we got? We got that Studio's Maverick. It's got a giant 7-litre Coyote V8 in it, which would be interesting to drive. And last but certainly not least, the R32 Nismo GTR, which would be quite an interesting pick. That might be a good retro series, some Group A style racing perhaps.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the Cosworth, the BMW M3 and the R32 that they've just brought in as well. That'll be mega exciting to see.
There we go. So if anyone else in ART is listening, there's a lobby series for you. There's an idea there. There's a White Tiger in the chat there saying, good evening, White Tiger. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you pull yourself away from TCR for just a minute. It's good to have you back. So we're getting our quali underway, and I think from what Laxter said before, we're only going to get a one-shot quali, maybe a 2-lap one around here at the Nürburgring sprint layout. What do you think is the most important part of this track, Laxter?
Oh, well, it's got to be the infield section. It's literally starting from turn 1 round to turn 6 or 7. It's so tight, you need to be very progressive on the throttle or be up the gears early to be able to control the vehicle, because you can gain a lot of time with the car control, especially in the slow speed corners through the stadium section especially.
Because I find, I think when I had doing a few races here a while ago, I think it was our sprint series, I think Tuesday last, I was really trying to make up some time in this particular section here, really balancing the car through these long left-handers, trying to find oftentimes a later apex to really straighten up the exit. You see here Elite sacrificing the right-hander or left-hander a bit early to really throw the car through the right, and a lot more of this exit curb seems to be used as well without incurring any penalties, so we might see a couple of cars running really wide as they try and keep the momentum.
Yeah, for sure. With everyone's out on track now, so everyone will get at least one fast lap this evening round here.
Do you think the slipstream has a particularly big impact here? Because of course that back straight, stretching back from where Elite is just coming out now, is fairly long. Do you think that will have much of an impact on these Group 4s?
It won't, no, not really. You're probably only talking of about half a tenth to a tenth from testing that I've done earlier. It's very, very difficult to get a decent slipstream. Ideally, because the aerodynamics of the vehicle, they're literally like bricks. Although, say their Group 3 cousins are obviously much better in the slipstream because of the aerodynamics. These cars do not tow very well. Hopefully we'll get some nice moves down the straight. It's going to be done under braking rather than using the tow.
Yeah, I feel that the Group 4s generally much more dependent on the mechanical grip than their aerodynamic properties. So I think we're looking for maybe some very last-minute lunges in the braking zones, or who can get the traction down better. As I think Voodoo, we can see with the half-second penalty, he may not get a chance to set a registered lap, and will probably be starting from the back.
Yeah, I've just noticed that he just picked up a half-second pen there. Yeah, I don't even think he'll be able to serve it on this particular lap, so it does look like he's going to be starting at the back of the grid.
Oh, that is most unfortunate for Voodoo, but we're going to ride on board with someone who is on a hot lap, maybe someone as hot as the Fire himself, Mr. Urban Fire. Let's jump on board with him as he takes us through the Mercedes arena. Again, cutting the circuit in half here, braking just, I think, before the Gran Turismo gantry, and diving off to the right rather than taking the rest of the Schumacher S's and the other half of the GP Strecker, as I believe it's called. My German serves me well. Looking here as well, we're seeing quite a heavy headwind down the back straight, and maybe a minor tailwind down the home straight. I think these cars, again, although they're not very aerodynamically efficient, are they going to benefit much from the wind, do you think?
I don't think there's going to be any benefit from the wind itself. It looks like it's going to be more of a hindrance due to the direction it's blowing in this evening, especially under braking into turn 1.
But yeah, of course, that might make the zone just a little bit longer than people are expecting, so I think I have to be extra cautious there. We ride on board with our guys at the front as Matt crosses the line. He's going to set the benchmark a 1:31.6. Elite also going to the back with a penalty. Dog only a tenth off there. Great effort from him. Urban Fire into third place. Colon down to fourth. Voodoo did manage to serve his penalty actually, so he's got I can't see what time it is, a 1:34.2. That puts him sixth for the time being. Some drivers still left to finish their laps, as Keeney is he's taken an interesting line there. If we discount the lag, I believe it's just him and Chris Chart left to set their laps. Lay is saying, I haven't driven it yet. I know SuperSquid loves the Suzuki. I don't mind this one. I've not driven it much, but the Group 3 one is a delight, I must say. Really good fun. So Chris Shaw coming across the line now, puts it up to P4. Great effort from him there, 1:32.4. But it is Matt and Dog currently leading them into turn 1. We'll see how that goes in a matter of moments.
Now, for our viewers, you may have noticed on the right-hand side of the lobby screen, once it loads back up, you'll see something that is very different. The grid order is in reverse, and I don't think anyone noticed that I sneakily changed from fastest first to slowest first. So everyone's gone out and set their fastest lap. The fastest person's now at the back of the grid.
Indeed, I seem to have only just noticed that myself. Why is Keeney on pole? He's a bit cheeky, but in that case, Voodoo is my guy to win then.
Yeah.
I want to see Voodoo bring one home. Do it for Alabama.
Oh, brilliant. Obviously, Elite didn't get a chance to set a lap, so unfortunately that's why he is in 10th place. Even if he did set a lap, he would have been probably a little bit further up the grid there. But everyone's ready, so we'll get the race underway.
Lay's there in the comments saying, did Keeney jump the chicane? I don't think he so much jumped the chicane as he did just kind of hit the hyperdrive and re-emerge a couple of light years further away. But that seems to have given him a bit of a boost and put him on the front row. We'll see how he gets away. Of course, front-wheel drive cars with turbo lag as well are probably not going to be particularly enjoyable to set in motion off the grid start. And especially into turn 1 at the Nürburgring, we know anything could happen down here. Even when it's not raining. We've got 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. Lights are out and the race is on. Key does make a decent getaway there actually, all the way to the upper first and second gear. I'm going to jump on board with Keeney and just see what it's like from behind, as he's a face sizable gap there. Voodoo's going to try and lunge Bertie, had an excellent launch himself, but Voodoo chops all of that curb and takes second place back. Seems that everyone else has made it through.
Unfortunately, Elite at the back of the grid, he made some excellent moves. He moved 2 positions up at the very, very start with a great launch. but he cut the inside of turn 1 and has been reset back on the start line again. So he's a few seconds off from 9th place now.
Oh, I've been there before. Someone else has gone a little bit wide there. I think that might well have been Chris Char. I think he's now door banging with Kakalele, and they've both missed their break. But they've gone very deep there. And who's the consequence of that one? So White Tiger says no deaths. What is this clean racing? Shocking. It's about 2 seconds too early, my friend. Chris Char has been absolutely stoved there into the wall, cutting off the GP circuit down into P9. Elite Digits are second and a half behind. We've got some side-by-side racing just up ahead. If we show me through, that is Kakalele side-by-side with Sergeant Colon, and behind them is Urban Fire and Dog, who Dog, obviously we know, starting near the back with the fastest time. Dog going for a double dive bomb there, not going to make that stick. Kakalele keeps Urban Fire clean, and I thought that was a car off the wall, but that's just a tyre wall. There. Let's see, is it going to pop up the red message of death? No, I think he's just about survived.
Skip that one.
So as it stands, it's still Keeney and Voodoo leading down into lap 2. Voodoo, unfortunately, with a half-second penalty, and that's really going to bite him when he gets into the penalty zone, because that's all the way uphill towards the final chicane. That's more than half a second he's going to lose there. So Keeney, you can see they're just balancing the throttle as he heads through this long left-hander. They're having to strain it up and line up for a second tight left-hander there. Voodoo's just holding Bertie off for the time being. There's moves behind though, I think, as Colon dives up the inside of Matt 237. The bright red wing and wheels on Sergeant Colon, but now Matt might just be seeing red already halfway up the grid. Is there a move to the inside? No, but Colon is very late on the brakes, and Matt sneaks up the inside, as does Kakalele and Dog. So that's not gone well there for Sergeant Colon.
He's managed to hold on to 5th position though, defending well against the pack of cars behind him.
Oh, this is getting tense there. We'll jump back on board with Colon. If I can find my rear view.
On the inside of Colon now.
Oh, let's have a look if I can swing at my controller. There we go. Kakalele just on the inside there, and I think Dog is going to have a look at the inside as well. If we jump back out, there is Dog. They are going to try and shimmy up the inside there. Sergeant is going to be late on the brakes. Kakalele, I think, has cut a lot of that first curb there. I'm not too sure. I can't tell if he's got a penalty just yet. I don't think he has. Colon defending again from Dog, but he's been ushered out wide. A bit of pressure there from Dog, who will take P6. Urban Fire not with the best exit there. Might be under threat from Chris Shah as they head into the braking zone of turn 1 once again.
We've got Matt 237 doing the double overtake on Voodoo, and Big Crazy Bertie down into turn 1 now. What an excellent move. He got Voodoo into the last corner, and then he's just taken Bertie into the first. And it's been impressive, especially starting at the back of the pack.
Well, let's see if we can get a little replay of that. I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, there it is. Lovely. So, Matt there, around the outside of Voodoo to the inside of Bertie, and just about gets it stopped with some late braking. A very, very brave manoeuvre indeed. Great job there from Matt.
Yeah, he's done excellent so far. Starting in 9th position, he's now up there, setting purple sector times in 2nd place. He's chasing down Keeney to try and get this win with 6 minutes to go.
Voodoo, though, still doing a cracking job up in P3. A really good effort from him, but of course can't understate the work Keeney's put into starting the lead, but also to keep it is a really, really great effort from him. I'm sure he's got a Coach Dutchy in his ear offering some braking and steering suggestions, but at the end of the day, he's the guy in the car and he's got to do the work, so great job from him there. Kakalele, they were hunting down Voodoo in 4th, but he's got Bertie right up under the diffuser there, and Dog is trying to make a charge as well. The 4 of them heading through the final chicane for the 3rd time. Voodoo's gone wide. Kakalele just about nudges up the inside. They're level into the braking zone for the final corner, but Kakalele has the inside. Voodoo might go for a cutback. He's in 2nd gear though, it's not going to be great for traction. Bertie around the outside as well. He's had a fantastic exit there. We know the slipstream isn't very great, so how brave is Bertie going to be on the brakes? Look how close they are. We jump aboard with Kakalele just to see what he's going to make of this. Bertie around the outside, Dog on the inside.
Dog on the inside, Voodoo blocking him off, lovely.
Voodoo, excellent defence driving from him there. Maybe a little bit risque being in the braking zone, but he's just about made it work. And I think at the back of this pack, that's Chris Char drawing up onto them as well. So we could well have a 5-way fight for 3rd place in the next lap or two. This will be a really exciting one to see out.
Yeah, it's been brilliant driving by everyone so far. Not seen many two moves at the back. Unfortunately, Urban's now in last place, so we missed out on what's happened there. And Elite Digits has picked up another 1 second penalty.
Urban's in last place?
Oh, never.
Oh,
he's
no.
He's done the reverse challenge again, hasn't he? So
He has. He's done his best to start in first. He knew the rules were coming. He still ended up last. Oh no. Anyway, Kakalele still leading them round into this final sector in P3. Voodoo just 8/10 behind, losing a little bit of time there on the exit, falling slowly into the clutches of Bertie, but they're still battling closely behind him. Dog is up the inside there, and Chris Shah might even fancy it as well if the door is held open for him. Dog up the inside of Bertie. They both leave each other racing room. Bertie keeps the place for the time being, but that's given Chris Shah an excellent run up the inside of Dog. He might try and follow Bertie through the final turn. It's just not level enough yet, and Dog, with a great run around the outside still, could even take Bertie by the end of the corner, by the end of the straight, sorry.
Yeah, say there's not much slipstream available with these cars down here, so it's just going to be a straight run down to the first corner. It's going to be about who's going to be the bravest on the brakes.
I see Bertie slams the brakes. Dog is not on the left anymore. I can't see. There he is in the mirror there. We look to our right. He's just hanging around behind, but nothing to see there. I'm trying my best to manoeuvre the mirror into camera view, so please forgive me if it doesn't look particularly great.
Very shortly we're going to have Matt take the lead. He's all over the back of Keeney, but Keeney does have half-second penalty, so it's inevitable anyway that Matt is going to take the lead of this race.
Okay, well I think we'll have to maybe let that one go. I'd love to see it, the change of hands, but I think Bertie, we're also going to see a change of hands for P5 downwards as he also picks up a half-second penalty. Perhaps he's run just a touch too wide out of the Mercedes arena there.
So you keep an eye on what's going on there. I've got Matt and Keeney covered. Keeney's going to serve his penalty now. Matt's going to take the lead into first place, and he's going to have quite a considerable gap in the lead there.
You can see on the radar on the top right of your screen there, that half-second penalty is amplified to probably at least twice as much by the time they make it down to the final chicane. Bertie serves his penalty, letting Dog up into P5. Chris Shah does have a run up towards the chicane, but you can't make a dive from 4/10 back. That is not going to end well. Chris Shah, though, makes the most of it with a great run through the chicane, halves the gap there to Bertie, but maybe quite sensibly not considering a move on the final corner there and hoping for a good exit and a move into T1, and he's exactly what he's got. A fantastic exit there from Chris Shah. We're going to ride on board with him. As you can see him just starting to edge past the fellow Swift there, keeping him honest on the left hand side. He's going to hit the brakes any second now. Bertie is later on the brakes, but I don't think he can hold it around the outside. Chris Shah very smartly as well, dipping into first gear just to get the car rotated and takes P6. Bertie's trying to go for the old swisheroo, but it's not happening there, not on Chris's watch.
Chris had that well covered off there. Just to note, we had an incident back into the last chicane before the last corner with Elite Digits and Sergeant Colon. Elite went for an ART rammer move and nudged Colon through, but he did give the place back straight away.
Well, it's good to know that even behind the scenes and off camera, the fair play is still being followed. And hopefully our sergeant there not shooting himself in the foot for that altercation.
And we've got Big Crazy Bertie with half-second penalty here, and this could draw him back towards Elite and Urban Fire in the race here. So
yeah, I've just caught that out the corner of my eye, so we're going to jump on board then. I think we'll jump on board with Urban Fire and see if this affects his race in any way. You can see there Bertie's car just unghosting and now back heading up to race pace. Colon easily passed him for P7. That brings Bertie into about a second, maybe 1.2 seconds of Urban Fire. Maybe not quite judging the braking distance right on that chicane with the reduced speed. Urban Fire though almost within a second there of Bertie. Slipstream, as we said, maybe not quite as important here, but it's always nice when you've got the carrot dangled right over your nose. You've got something to chase.
Yeah, everyone's now onto the final lap of the race by time, so we'll see what goes on here, see if there's any late moves at all. We've got Voodoo defending off a Dog into the first corner there.
I've just about caught a glimpse of that as well. Voodoo using all the track there to keep that car momentum as high as he can, but he's run a little bit wide there. Dog is on the inside. I think Voodoo's later on the brakes. He's going to try and hold it around the outside, but I think Dog is already ahead by the time they get to the right-hander, and that is now P4 for the Dog. Voodoo down to 5th. Just up ahead as well, I think, is that Kakalele and Keeney having a go for P2?
Yeah, Kakalele, my boy's done well there to get into second place. I'm quite happy for him to have a finish on a podium position now.
Of course, Kakalele joining only a few moments, I think, before we ended our last few practice sessions. I'm not sure how much he has practiced, but if this is natural talent or just a knack for the car, he's really putting on the show for race 1. Great job there to Kakalele. We shuffle down the pack just a little bit further. I'm not sure we see any big more battles here, but Chris Char is still going to have to fend off Sergeant Colon for P6. We'll have a look on board with him as they head into the chicane prior to the pit lane. Colon a little bit later on the brakes there, drawing right up onto the back of Chris Char, and a great exit as well. They're going to be side by side into the last corner. Is there a dive bomb? Is now or never. Matt takes the flag. Kakalele will take second and Keeney third, I think. They're going to be side by side over the line. I've just getting away from it. Dog is fourth, Voodoo's fifth, sixth and seventh. Chris takes it by the skin of his teeth from Sergeant Colon, and Bertie just over from Urban by 3/10. Elite Digits rounding them up at the back of the pack in P10.
Yeah, well done everyone. That was an exciting first race there. We'll shortly move on to our next race.
Fantastic race indeed. I think we've got 4 more left, and let's hope they're even half as good as that one. If you are joining late, this is the ART Amigos Racing Team Academy Swift Cup Grand Finale, where our Academy drivers who are about to make the step up to the main team and take part in our competitive events are celebrating their successes with a best of 5 event tonight, adding on to their previous point scores. Our first race winner, if we put our results up on screen here, was Matt237, starting from the back. A resurgent return to the front from him. Kakalele doing a great job to work up to P2, and Keeney, to his credit, maybe not the fastest driver in the grid in every situation, but fought really hard for P3. Well deserved, and he's definitely my driver of the first race.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Matt go from last to the front there, and also Kakalele getting second position overall. That was a great driving from both of them two there.
Right, so our next track, Lancaster, where are we going to be next?
Oh, we're going to head off to Japan and Autopolis.
Japan and Autopolis. We're doing the short layout, aren't we?
We are doing a short layout, and there's a little bit of a surprise for everyone on this one as well. They've been practicing in lovely, beautiful, warm weather, but the weather's sort of changed, so we'll see how they handle with a bit of weather.
Perhaps the ART weather machine was a little faulty earlier today.
Yeah, the predictor machine was a bit broken, so we'll see how the boys get on with using some intermediates.
Of course, and if you thought the front wheel drives were hard enough to take care of on dry tyres, I'm sure they're going to be a real handful there on wets. Like I think just reminded them all that Inters will be the optimal tyre for this. Again, we're not expecting any transitionary weather here, but we may still see a dry line start to emerge towards the end of the race as the rain starts to come down harder.
Right, I'm just going to be doing the live update with regards to the order.
Go for it.
Obviously we've got the results already from P1, so we know exactly what's happening there. We'll give the guys a couple of minutes to practice, and once they're all in.
As I think Elite has not quite got the memo. He's still up there on racing softs. He might be wondering why my car decided not to stop, and now I think he's realised that the RS in the corner of his screen stands for really slippery.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went out there on the racing softs, and the car just spun through every gear.
What I see is these guys get to grips on the Inters. You see there on the bottom left of your screen the wet, or the track moisture indicator there, just over halfway, so not wet enough yet for full wet tyres, but definitely too dangerous to be on slicks. So Autopolis here, we know we're going to have that very long run down into the first corner. So Chris Charles already got a penalty for cutting the pit lane lines. And then this run here up to the car, what we call, I guess, is officially turn 3, is a really important part here for the cars to pick up their momentum again and slam on the brakes before a really complex middle sector. I think most iconically known for, or as I'm about to show it then, someone's jumped off the track. Where is he? Elite Digit will show us then. Most known for this long sweeping left-hander, I can't remember if it's maybe 150R or something, I think it's called. And then heading up towards the final turn on the short layout, which is a very deceptively tight hairpin and just a tiny left-hand kink to put you back onto the pit straight. I think many of our drivers will be relieved to know they're not going to have to use the pit lane today, as I think Laxty will agree this is probably the most notoriously difficult pit lane in all of Gran Turismo.
Did anyone call Haas?
yeah. Hassle if you're there. There's a tyre barrier with your name on it.
With your name on multiple times.
Maybe
Yeah.
a couple of your teeth. I'm not too sure. So,
Mr. Pitwall himself.
Mr. Pitwall, if you're watching there, we salute you.
Did we check if everyone's actually on inters before we start, actually?
I have a quick check for you now.
I'm doing it now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
we're all
no
on
problem.
inters. Done.
I also did just see a comment, and I'm afraid the one time I didn't have my live stream on, I've totally missed it. Let's try and grab it one more time.
Oh, I've got to do the starting grid as well.
Oh, that was Mad Daz. Oh, and Dalton, of course. Dalton was there ages ago. Dalton cheering on Keeney, so good job there for Keeney. And Big Mad Daz saying evening, chaps. Good evening, Mad Daz. Hope you're well. Dalton and Lays as well if you're watching too. And White Tiger, if you're not being put off by Jinx in the first race, we hope you're still enjoying the show.
Where is Mr. Burity? There he is. Yeah, I completely forgot. I've got to adjust the grid myself.
So is this going to be on previous race results?
It's reverse grid on each race, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Mad Daz saying evening Squid and ART Rammer.
Good evening.
And White Tiger says he's always enjoying it, which is great to know. Thanks, Tiger. If you are looking for someone to maybe help out the TCR commentary, my services are available. And if Mr. Tidgley would have me on, I'd be honoured. So we'll be underway in a matter of seconds with our next race. Again, 2 of 5. The drivers had practice of this in the dry, as we mentioned earlier, but having to get used to this car in the wet may present itself as a bit of a challenge as they head through the full race distance. Elite, though, seems to have refound his pace there with a 118.7, but it looks like Dog is about to eclipse him in some way. Let's have a look as he crosses the line for a practice time there. A 118.7 versus a 118 flat, so a great shot there from Dog, and it looks like maybe these guys will be the ones to watch for race 2. Maybe Elite's finally found his pace in the Swift.
Yeah, in the wet.
In the wet of all places. Okay, so Urban Fire finding himself on pole, it seems, for race 2. Don't know if Urban Fire's ever been on pole. Maybe perhaps at a certain gentleman's establishment, but maybe not on the grid. 5 red lights. Lights are off. The race is on. Hopefully Mrs. Urban is not listening. Or she'll be wanting to see where those lessons have taken him, I'm sure. Yep. Urban Fire heading into turn 1. Elite is gaining on the outside. This could be too wide through turn 1 unless they've been particularly cautious. They are almost running each other wide. Bertie tapping Elite digits there. Chris Char making the most of that little kerfuffle and sliding up into P3. In fact, make that P2.
Well on the inside there.
They are all weaving everywhere as they head into the second main corner there. Urban keeps the lead. Chris and Elite side by side through this technical middle sector. We're going to jump on board there as Chris lets Elite go for the time being. But I think in his right mirror there is a rabid Dog looking up the inside. There's some contact there, I think, on Elite again with Chris. Voodoo taking that position from Dog then, I think. And it looks like they're still incredibly side by side.
Looks like Matt had a little altercation from someone into the hairpin and he's dropped back a little bit, but he's back on the attack on the inside of Keeney now.
And these guys are running ever so close to the grass there on lap 1. It's incredibly risky. They just kept it there on the tarmac. Chris Shaw going around the outside of Elite digits again. They could still be side by side into the final turn. These guys, are probably closer attached than than a new couple. They are really going at it today. Elite there finally getting the advantage over Chris and taking P2 back.
I love these mixed reverse grids because it throws up all sorts of action that you wouldn't necessarily see in a fastest first race.
Oh, of course, it's fantastic to see some of the faster guys at the back trying to send their way up to the top of the grid there, and the guys at the front maybe with slightly less confidence fighting for the place like their lives depend on it. As you saw a big Bertie there trying to send it around the outside of Voodoo at turn 1. That would have been an incredible move, but Voodoo not letting that one go as easy as Bertie might want it. just a bit further. I think you see Dog looking for a move around outside of Colon. He's gone wide instead, and that's allowed Kakalele up the inside, but that's now the outside again. Colon's gone very deep through the first hairpin there. Is there a move on the inside for these two? They are indeed. In fact, they're almost 3 wide, heading round towards the long left-hander. Dog around the outside of Kakalele, and Colon has made that one stick into P6. Is Colon going to fall victim to Kakalele here?
Oh, Kakalele nearly with a big spin in the front wheel drive there. He obviously just touched the grass, but well recovered.
We did just save that, I think, as we jumped on board with him, but that's not going to save him from Matt 237 up the inside. And Kakalele moving across, maybe slightly sneakily in the braking zone there to try and ward him off. But Matt has sent it there first class and out the other side in P8. Mad Daz there saying with a sweet move, Dog. It was indeed a very good move. He's up into P6, Matt up into 8th. And Keeney, unfortunately, has found himself at the back of the pack.
Yeah, quite a way off as well for Kakalele. Although I'm sure he's got Dutchy barking orders in his ears at the moment. So it's telling him to brake now and turn now. So as he does, but I'm sure he'll be catching up with the pack again.
I hope so. There, White Tiger said before he's attempting the new time trial while watching this. Goldie's eluding me. What a combo! I'd say this is probably a slightly more interesting combo, but I haven't got the time trial later. And Mad Dad saying sweet move. Dog, of course, we saw there. It's going to be getting very feisty up here, I'm sure. We jump back to the front then, as we can see Chris Char is still fighting tooth and nail there with Urban Fire. It's getting quite dicey here between these two. Sizable gap though, back to Elite Digits, has made his comeback up into P3.
Yeah, so we've got a big pack forming between 4th and 8th place at the moment. All these guys are fighting tooth and nail and bumper to bumper at the minute, so we'll see if there's any moves into the heavy braking area.
So let's see, Mad Daz, it's not a lap race, it's a timed race, I believe. It's just is it just 10 minutes? Maybe the time has not come up on the screen. Yes, it's 10 minutes. So the time is not coming up, but it's a 10-minute race, so they've got about 5.5 minutes left, I'd say, plus a lap. White Tiger as well, if you're looking for some training as well from Dutchy, we can definitely get in touch after this event about getting you some coaching if that's what you're interested in. In the meantime, though. Oh,
we will be looking to get some more academy members in soon, because we're looking to promote some drivers into the full team eventually. So it'd be nice to bring in other communities, or if there's any drivers out there that are looking to join the team, we can get them into the academy once a month, try and help them improve their skills and see where it goes.
Well, speaking of improving their skills, they're Voodoo defending early and smartly from Big Crazy Bertie, but first gear trying to exit this hairpin might be good for rotating the car, but not so great when you're trying to put the power down, because it will just smash off the top of the rev limiter until it finally finds traction, and that's allowed Bertie just to inch a little bit closer to the back of Voodoo. Voodoo had a better exit though, out of this long left, gaining just a touch on Elite Digits, but not enough to make a move. Maybe making a move behind though, I think it was Matt, but Dog has had to cover that one off. And in fact, he's got a bit wide as a result.
Yeah.
And Matt's on the inside, but he's very courteously left in some space. That's a fantastic fight from these guys. And they're going to be side by side. We jump aboard with Dog again and see where Matt is. He is now technically ahead. Matt moving on to the racing line. Is Dog going to send it up the inside in retaliation? Let's have a look. He's looking, he's putting his nose through, but he's going to duck out of that one, I think. That's going to put Colon in the mix then, having been on the racing line himself. And rather than attacking Matt, he might now be defending from Sergeant Colon.
So unfortunately, we've had Keeney drop quite back there. He's just lost it into the first corner. I think he may have outbraked himself there, and he's dropped right back. But, you know, there's a silver lining here that he's going to start in first place for the next race.
Cool, of course. Well, as much as it might be drizzling on the track, we make sure that it doesn't rain on his parade as he starts the next race in a much more advantageous position. If we look back at the front, though, I think Chris and Urban are still going at it. They are only 3/10 apart as they head around the long sweeping left into the final turn here. And they've still got about 3.5 minutes left to play with, so maybe it's not worth making any rash moves, and maybe it's just worth keeping the racing consistent and escaping from Elite Digits. You can see there Urban Fire's already got the fastest lap of 1:17.1 and going purple to the second sector. There could be yet another improvement as he crosses the line. It's going to be a 1:17 flat, so another 10th out of it there. Chris Char, of course, will be getting these little purple flashes up on the left side of his screen. He knows the pressure is going to start to come up now. I think, speaking of pressure, Voodoo, it might be about to lose a place to Crazy Bertie and maybe even Matt, getting sandwiched around the outside. Let's have a look.
Oh, we've lost Elite Digits into the first corner there as well.
Or
Outbraked himself.
Possibly Elite being put off there by the swarm of Swifts in his rearview mirror. Bertie has gotten past Voodoo, and Dog is now up the inside of Matt, so we could see 2x2 into the second sector here, and it is definitely getting very close now. White Tiger saying, I would love the training, and is Urban Fire doing okay? He's at the back again. Oh, he's going. Oh, sorry, no, he's going forward, not back. Is he feeling okay? Oh my bad, I've misread. Yeah.
That's the one thing, obviously, now that the guys have got to deal with is with these intermediate tyres and the drying track, it's actually going to feel more like driving on ice again because of the grip levels dropping so rapidly. So it's going to bring in a different type of racing for everyone here.
Agreed. Just as I was predicting at the start, if the rain stops falling, so now the dry line is forming on the racing line, and I think exactly as Lax has put it, these tyres do not like being scraped against the dry tarmac, and if anything, it might be good for these guys to be on the wet line down the straight, just to cool them down a little bit and kind of put them at ease before another heavy braking zone and turn into turn one.
Yeah, they should be more likely to be braking into the wet line here, which looks like Dog is going to do with Voodoo into turn one here. Voodoo very smartly taking a late braking line there.
There has been some contact though, and that's allowed two drivers through. Make that three as Colon is right next to him there. It's going to be a drag race down to turn 3, and Colon is on the inside on the wet line though, but that might be better on the intes, and he's made a great move there. So Voodoo now down to P7, but perhaps those bright yellow lights are still something to be for Colin to be thinking about as he sends it up the inside. That's a big smash on the side of Colon there. Hope he's not going to take that too personally, but Voodoo, I think that's a bit of a bump and run tactic. Maybe a bit too much NASCAR before heading to racing this afternoon. And a lick of flame. That is elbows out racing, or I think my friend Brad might call it short track racing.
I'm surprised we've not heard from Karen this evening.
Of course, the Suzuki Swift is his calling. Although he spoke to me, he's actually gone and bought a new Legends car, like an old hot rod style thing with a big Ford V8 in the front. So,
wow.
Well, hopefully Ford V8. He said it might be a motorbike engine. I'm not too sure. That might be sacrilege to those of you watching from the States. If we jump back quickly though, Matt is trying to get up the inside of Bertie and possibly even Dog. There's like they're almost 3 wide down the straight there. So Lays says left turn racing.
Left turn racing.
Dog goes up the inside of Matt on the right hand corner there, Lays. So he takes P3, but Matt is drawing right up alongside him, maybe with a better exit there following the racing line. They're going to be 2x2 into the next corner, and Dog taking lead. He's got to cut across now and protect it, and he does take P3, but this is a battling quartet here that might just become a sextet as the 2 cars in 6th or 7th and 8th start to close in as well. Bertie's gone very wide there.
He got a bit of a nudge from whoever was behind him there, I believe.
Might have been Voodoo who's going to go past him on the outside.
No, I believe it's
as well.
That's why he's waited there.
Ah, okay, so Colon's waiting back behind Bertie, but that's going to allow Kakalele on the outside. A little bit of a nudge there from Big Crazy Bertie, but it looks like Kakalele is still in one piece. And now Colin is right on the back of him. Elite Digits is coming through as well. This is going to be a very, very interesting finish. As it Elite sends it up on Colin, and a huge contact there on Bertie.
I don't know who's to wait for. Just go, boys. Just go.
I mean, I can't even see the finishing order because I'm going to try and get the replay up and see what's happened. But if we follow Elite, he's definitely not alongside Colin, I don't think, for the time being. And he just breaks way too late. Smashes through Bertie and Kakalele. Colon just forces his way through the pair of them and around Elite Digits and takes 3 spots for 1 there. Mad Daz goes, Elite taking a tip from Langster.
Careful now.
Oh, well, let's actually see how that finished in the end. Chris Child beating Urban Fire by half a second. Good job there to Chris. Fantastic to see him on the podium. And I suppose Urban Fire as well. I think White Tiger saying stewards have a word. I mean, have a word with them. Urban Fire first. It seems like he's put something under his engine he shouldn't have done. Dog in 3rd there. Matt in P4 again, just about 3 tenths behind, so very close from him. Voodoo 5th. Kakalele managed to pick up the pieces of that last section there in 6th. Colon 7th. Elite giving the positions back down to 8th. Bertie in 9th amidst all the chaos, and Keeney a little further way off, but he will be on pole for the next one.
Alright, let's get the results up again quickly while I just update the live standings.
Mad Daz there saying some good battling there, chaps. It was definitely some good battling. It was definitely more like a touring cars than I think the last race was.
Going to be an interesting race, the next one, with the reverse grid again. Happy with Urban finishing in second place there, and Dog just beating Matt as well by only by a couple of tenths of a second.
Well, I'm sure the happiest one of the bunch at the moment is probably Mr. Urban Fire there in the party, telling everyone that he's been good this whole time and he just didn't want to disappoint them. So, where are we heading next then, Lancaster?
We are heading to Austria and the Red Bull Ring.
The Red Bull Ring, the short layout again, I assume.
It'll be the short layout again, yeah.
Fantastic. This is always a good one for the Group 4 cars. They haven't got to worry too much about the straight line speed. It's more about preserving the momentum through the middle the second sector. And especially that second to last corner is always a tricky one, because if you run it just a touch wide, that's another half-second penalty they're going to slap on you before you get around again.
So we've got Bertie and Keeney bringing up the rear.
Do you need to change the track before the grid, or is it okay?
No, I need to change. I was updating the live standings. Not
the results. Okay.
Yeah, because if I then change the track, I then can't bring the results back up again. So.
Of course.
Although, I could have just done it that way. Do all this with multiple racing. There's that. And there's that. We'll give these guys a couple of minutes. Right. On to race 3. Luckily no more rain is forecast for this evening.
No more rain, are we sure?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I was going to say, the rain brought out some fantastic racing. I'd have been quite happy to kept it, to be honest.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting rain here at Red Bull Ring, but I thought, a bit out of order on these guys.
Okay, Hocker's just checking in there. Evening, chaps. How much fun have I missed? Actually, to be fair, it's been really boring. No one's overtaken. I mean, it's just preparation for the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend. Absolutely dead. Might be a hit of sarcasm there. You've literally just missed one of the best races of the Academy series, so make sure you go back and check it out. It's been fantastic.
Just waiting for everyone to ready up, and then I can set the grid. And typically, it's Urban we're waiting for.
So, Urban there wasn't as bad as I thought, he says in the chat. That's what we're all saying about you, Urban, so that's fine.
There we go, we're done.
So, find ourselves now for race 3 of 5 at the Red Bull Ring, formerly the A1 Ring, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, that's definitely a time when I was probably just about old enough to remember Schumacher, Hakkinen, Hill, Irvine, all that kind of lot. Urban Fire going blah blah blah. The better bit would be my historical accuracy. I'm quite proud of that, you know. If our old friend Rabid was here, you know he loved a bit of history.
Oh, your knowledge is right up there with Rabid. Good old uncle.
Uncle Rabid. Uncle Rabid, if you're watching, we miss you, buddy. So anyway, our drivers are having a couple of installation laps here at the Red Bull Ring. Of course, you can see there as we jump right in on time with ATC Dog, we're cutting the first straight, say about maybe a third of the way down, and shortcutting into the twisty S-bends, leading into the final 2 corners of the full Grand Prix layout here. So not much of a lap left to complete. It's probably only about say a 50-60 second lap at best. Lancaster, from practice, who have you seen really excelling here?
Do you know what? It was Urban that was punching out the times here, and Dog as well.
Oh, we can't give Urban any more reason to win now, surely.
Oh no. Well, you're starting towards the back of the grid for this one, so let's hope it stays that way.
But he has had a taste of the podium. We can't encourage that. We'll never hear the end of it. Well, let's see. So, Lancaster reckoning that I think Dog and Urban are probably some of the ones to watch. I want to see Chris Char have another great performance as well. I know he's been fairly consistent this evening, it seems. So, Lane's commenting in the chat there, saying that rabid animals are potentially roadkill. And if you know our friend Lays, you know he's rather fond of a bit of motorway meals, shall we say.
Right, let's get this underway.
Right, so about to go racing again for another 10 minutes at the Red Bull Ring short layout. Hocker saying, I'd love to see Kakalele get up there. It would be great to see Kakalele get up there. I think maybe he's had one podium, as far as I can remember, from the Academy series, so it'd be lovely to see him add another one to his trophy cabinet. As it stands there, we've got Keeney on pole, Bertie second, Elite and Colon in the second row. Kakalele is starting from 5th there, along with Voodoo in P6. 5 red lights. Lights are off, race is on. Lots of wheel spin you can hear there as they pull away from the grid. Looks like Elite's had a fairly good start, definitely clearing Colon there. The early move to the inside as well from, I think that might be Matt 237 possibly, because from the back of the grid he's done a really good start there. He's already gained 4 places in one turn. Keeney having to fend off at Elite digits there, and Colon's up the inside of him as well. You can see with the bright red wing. I've heard some tyre squeals there. There's a car up backwards at the back, and it's Chris Char. Let's see if I can get...
we've lost Chris already.
I'll try and save that clip there and come back to that in a few moments if possible. As it stands
Meanwhile, at the front we got Elite, who's driving like an absolute stabbed rabbit at the moment, talking a roadkill.
He is indeed. He's got the Keeney right up in front of him there. And Keeney might well be the next object lying in the road as Elite comes up behind him, but he's now got a half-second penalty, and it looks like Elite has gone from predator to prey as Bertie, Colin, and I'm sure Matt, 3 of them all battling behind him, will be taking P2 from him in about a minute's time.
It all depends, because obviously the penalty line's towards the penultimate corner, so if he can get enough space, which I think he has at the moment, nearly 2-second advantage on 3rd place, I think he will still keep seconds.
We'll have a look at second there as Dog and Bertie are still squabbling into the second sector. Bertie just letting Dog go there, and looks like Matt has gone through as well. A very brave move there, inside to outside from Matt. Now as Elite serves his penalty, where's that going to put him? Colin's bearing down, but I think you have called it right there, Lancaster. He's got a second extra, but no more than that. Let's see if I can quickly
pick up another penalty by going wide into the same corner again.
Oh, he did, and he cut a fair chunk off the inside of that one as well on the exit.
No, Colon's picked up the penalty though.
Colon's got it instead. I can see if I can quickly see what happened to Keeney at the start of the race. Chris Char, sorry, he's building his way up from P9 into P8, and Urban just I think he must have turned across Urban. There was some contact, and Chris Char just ended up turning left when he needed to go right.
Just had an amazing switch back by Dog there, but we've got Matt careering into the back of Colon there. Luckily they've kept it on the track.
I completely missed that, I'm afraid. I was trying to get back out of the replay, but see, Matt is going to make his way around Colon anyway, I think, as he serves his penalty, or Matt go up the inside instead. Colon serves his penalty on the racing line. Not ideal, as there's a lot of swerving going on there. Was that Urban again, I think, or was that Bertie?
No, it was Colon. So he literally grabbed the grass on the outside under braking into the penalty zone, so that's caused the car while under autopilot to swerve all over the shop.
Oh, not the best idea then. That's cost Colin a couple of places, and he's got Kakalele right up behind him as well. It's getting very tense up there. Hocker's there saying Urban on fire. Well, he's made a decent getaway as he comes. He's in P6 at the moment. Colin, I think, has just gone a touch too wide at turn 1. Bertie's got a penalty, as has Colin.
Yeah. And Matt as well.
And Matt, that's not going to help him. He should be near the front by now. These penalties are really holding him back. We might see Kakalele make 2 places here, maybe more.
Oh, Urban Fire is definitely going to gain out of this 2 positions, I'd say.
Let's have a look. Colin moves to the inside this time quite sensibly. That allows Urban Fire, I think, to pull away a bit further. Kakalele is right underneath Colon, but just not enough. And in fact, I think that late move there from Colon on the brakes with a slower car just put Kakalele off into the braking zone, but he's kept it very well.
What these guys need to do is keep it clean for this, because they haven't served the penalty because it was too late to serve the penalty on that particular lap. So they need to be careful on the exit of turn 1 here to not pick up a second penalty.
Let's have a look. I'll be jumping on board then with Sergeant Colon.
Oh, they're both going to do it again.
I think Colon's gone wide again. Is it Bertie as well? Oh, Matt as well. Where is Matt? He's there. He's at half a second at the moment, so I think he might just be in the clear.
Oh, it's Colon who's picked up the 1 second.
Yeah, Bertie as well, but as I was predicting then, Colon has added his 1 second penalty. That's going to allow Voodoo back into the mix. Possibly even Chris Char will jump on board with Chris. Let's just see how much time he loses up ahead there. Colon, I think, has slowed down a little bit. Maybe Voodoo's just not quite. No, Voodoo's going up the inside. Big set up the inside. Voodoo, though, all 4 wheels over the white line, so he could maybe just pick up a little penalty. He's gone very wide in the exit, though, and these two are now door banging. Colon takes it back. Voodoo does get a track limit penalty, and to make matters worse, Chris Char sends him for a hot dog as well. Big Mad there saying track limits for the win, #penalty fest. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing there, so I'm going back to Chris Char's spin for some reason. I do apologise. Let's have a look at the front of the pack then. Keeney is still holding his own in the lead. A cracking job from Keeney. 1.5 seconds on Dog. And if you look at his lap times there, 52, 53, 53, you can tell he knows where the track limits are, and he's been consistent above all else.
Yeah, for sure. I was predicting Dog and Urban Fire would be the 2 fastest on this track, as their practice time showed earlier. But nearly went off wide.
I say that, I just saw Keeney run wide at the second to last corner. I thought, I've just given him the commentator's curse there. He's just picked up a half-second penalty running over the red and white curb at the second to last corner. So Dog will have a chance at reeling him in, and especially pulling away from Elite Digits, who's also, as you say, picked up a half-second penalty. Quite a sizable gap back there to Matt 237 and Urban Fire in 4th and 5th. Bertie and Kakalele are still in hot pursuit. Further back there, Sergeant Colon has another half-second penalty. He's going to be fuming.
Yeah, as we know, Red Bull Ring is penalty city, and you've got to keep within the track limits at this circuit.
Keeney slams on the anchor service penalty. Dog is now at 3 tenths, 2 tenths, no tenths, and ahead of Keeney. So that puts him into P1. Keeney down second. Keeney's gone wide again. Is there another penalty?
No.
And for Elite as well, I suppose. Matt looks like he just kept it in the circuit there. But I'm sure we see a string of penalties for our top few drivers. Colon's got another half second and maybe another still. Goodness me. Now that is 1 second now for Colon.
And Keeney as well has got a second penalty up in second place, so he's definitely going to lose a position. Oh, well, not to Elite, so Elite's got a half second, but Matt, if he keeps it clean, I reckon he could be up there in second place quite soon.
Oh, I'm devastated for Keeney. He was driving such a clean race. I should have just kept my mouth shut. And now he's racked up a second penalty. He would probably be quite fortunate to stay on the podium. But as we say there, we had Elite with a penalty behind as well. We're going to jump on board with Keeney and just see how much his penalty affects his race. That's the 1 second from him, the half from Elite, nothing for Matt. Matt's past 1. Is he past 2? Into the braking zone, he has made 2 gains there. Elite with another half-second penalty, though, before he served the previous one. Cole in the comments is saying it's a real penalty fest because people are pushing too hard.
Yeah, everyone just needs to calm down a little bit. Just take it in, slow in, fast out. Get your lines right into the corners, because if you start pushing too much, you're going to keep picking up the penalties, as proven with a lot of the guys here this evening.
We see here Elite's got a penalty. I think Kakalele has also got himself a penalty. He has indeed a half-second penalty there. Chris Shah seems to be alright now. Sergeant Colon, I think, has now finally learned his lesson at the back of the pack. But he's got 2.5 minutes to go, so maybe another 3 laps or so as he tries to make a move on the inside of Voodoo. I think Voodoo doesn't want to fight that one too much. We'll be hoping for another penalty from Sergeant Colon, perhaps.
I think what the problem is here this evening, the guys are just getting a bit frustrated with the penalties and they keep on trying to push to catch up. They just need to calm down, deep breath, as I say, slowing fast out. We've got Urban trying to make a move onto Elite Digits there. He's scared him into pushing him off out wide, and I think Elite's going to pick up another half-second penalty.
Elite's gone very wide there. I think Kakalele went quite wide as well, just in the back of the picture there. He did indeed. There's a half-second for Kakalele. I think Colon's ended up
Urban's picked up half a second as well.
Voodoo's got a whole second. That's going to drop him right off the back of Sergeant Colon, so he might just regret giving that place away.
Oh, we got Keeney in 3rd place with another half second, but Urban behind him with half a second, so he should maintain that podium position. So
it looks like, yes, our 2nd, 3rd and 4th place drivers, all with half-second penalties. In fact, Elite seems to be the only one that's clean in our top 5 so far. Kakalele with the 1 second just behind him. Let's jump aboard with Elite and just see how much these gaps close back up for him.
He's got to defend though against Bertie right up his rear bumper.
He has got Bertie right on it. Bertie lifting off early, just making sure he doesn't get a tunnel vision to the second to last corner. Now we're seeing much more conservative exits from all of our drivers there. Much more aggressive on the exit though. Bertie very aggressive on the exit. Was he a touch too aggressive there? He's not got a penalty yet. No, I think he's probably safe, but right on the back of Elite. These 3 cars separated by only 3/10.
Oh, Keeney's picked up a half second. I think he's going to pick another one up there into the first corner.
Let's have a look. That is half to start with. I think he may just have about kept it for the other one, but Urban Fire is now only 1.4 behind, and he's got Elite Digits up the inside of Bertie as well. Chris Char joining the fight as well. Let's jump on board as he goes to look around the outside of Bertie, but it's not how Bertie now leaves the space. He shouldn't have done that. It's given Chris Char a great run up the inside. He will take P6. Is there a chance to scare Elite wide again one more time? Keeney's had to let Urban Fire go into P3, and his contact, he's gone wide again. Hopefully he won't get a penalty for that one. It wasn't really his fault, but they're going to charge through the final turn now. They've got a chance for one more lap. Elite Digits look at the inside of Keeney there, down the straight. It's a drag race to turn 1. This is going to be very close. With the penalties, this could be anyone's game there. 5 cars.
Right here, gentlemen. Oh, Chris is looking for the move as well, but he's going to get a penalty for cutting the inside line there.
That was a very liberal use of track limits there. Have a look at Chris. He's not had a penalty just yet, so maybe actually he's been okay. Just enough.
For the final lap as well.
Just enough of it on the red stuff. I think there's a car stopped at the back. I can't say who that is.
No, they didn't make it past the line for the 10-minute mark.
No, but I mean there was a car in the wall at the back, but perhaps that was lag. I couldn't quite see.
So Voodoo's obviously finished already, but we got Dog coming across the line now to take.
Oh, I've just cut away from a move. I think that was Chris Shard going around the Elite Digits. He's got on the inside into P4. Dog's taking the win. Matt's going to take second. Urban Fire on the podium twice in a row. Look at him weaving with joy there. Chris in 4th. Elite 5th. Bertie in 6th. Kakalei is going to bring home 7th place, it looks like, and Colin would just nudge out Keeney to P8. Keeney's race was so bad, it just fell apart for him at the very end.
I'm gutted for him because he had 2nd place in the bag there, and he kept on picking up penalty after penalty. Just need to keep it clean and on track limits, and it was yours for the taking. But
I felt for him. I absolutely devastated, and I bet you can imagine Uncle Dutchy's roaring away at him in the microphone as well. I'm sure effing and blinding and W wording in the party chat there, but of course Keeney will have another go to start from P2, I think, in the next race. There's the results on the screen there. Dog beating Matt by 3 seconds there. Matt just pipping the fastest lap by only about a 10th. Urban Fire again in P3, so he's had a 3rd and a 2nd. Is this Urban Fire's chance to get a win? We've only got, I think, 2 races left. Chris Char in P4 there, just ahead of Elite Digits, only about 3/10 in that as well. Bertie in P6 was a little bit closer than it suggests there. He had half a second on the line, made a full second when he finished the race. Kakaleli in 7th there, 3 seconds off of Bertie. Colon just a little bit behind. Keeney, of course, we saw with a very unfortunate race, it just unfolding for him in the last few laps, and Voodoo did not make it onto the final lap of the race. So I'm sure Langston's just totting up the points now.
Yeah, we are. I'm just going to move us over to the next lobby as well. So we're heading to America and Watkins Glen.
Let me guess, the short layout?
It will be the short layout. How did you guess?
I just had a gut feeling there.
Before we start this next race, I'll give a live update to the standings, 3 races in, and we'll see where everyone is. It's quite an interesting one at the moment with the data that's been put in.
I'm sure Urban Fire's scores looking particularly healthy. He'd be happy with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, with a 2nd in his last race and a 3rd in this one. That's good going there from Mr. Urban.
It's a very healthy point haul. But I'd be fairly confident it's probably Matt or Dog still leading the charge for the time being.
Yeah, it's going to be very close between the 2. I haven't got it exactly up on screen yet, but we're nearly there.
in that case, while Lankster's doing the data and crunching the numbers, we're going to see if anyone's crunching the wall through turn one. Looks like Matt's made it. We'll run a ball with Matt then as he heads through down the main straight. You can see here, fifth gear about 145 miles an hour, then down hard on the brakes. You've really got to, as much as tempting it is to try and wrench the car front wheel drive through these corners, you really have to be gentle so that the tyres keep grip and you can just weave a smooth line through the bus stop there. A long right hander where you might be quite keen to hug the inside of the corner, wash nice and wide onto the exit, and again reached about 135, 140 miles an hour into the second big braking zone here. Taking fourth gear, maybe you could run a little bit wider there on the exit and hold in fourth ideally early on the power, again using that low end torque of the Swift to pull it through the final apex and over the line. We probably could see lap times maybe around, I'd say, if I remember rightly, maybe 1:14 I think would be a fairly decent time. I'm pretty sure I set a 1:13 in our practice, but I'm not one to brag. Lays in the comments, they're saying he's loving the commentary duo, it's excellent. Well, thank you, Lays.
Cheers, Lays.
Feedback always means a lot.
Miss you, buddy.
And Lays saying as well, lucky number 13, the best club in the world. I think he saw the 13 on the side of one of the cars. White Tiger saying, no, of course not. You don't even know me, get out of here. Mad Daz, they say, nice win, dog, a good race again, chaps. And White Tiger's well saying that Matt really is showing his pace and skill in that last event. So I guess he is probably the one to watch here. Lay saying, you too, my man, Sir Lankster. It's nice to see some reciprocal appreciation in the community. So I feel this track obviously is pretty much just two big straights separated by a couple of kinks in the road. So the real place I think these drivers are going to be making a break in their lap times, we jump on board with Matt, is going to be here at turn one. It's so easy to brake a bit too late, as I think Elite almost did there with some tyre squeal, and extend the curve. Here at Watkins Glen you can run all the way out onto that first turn exit curve. I'll find someone who's about to get to it now. Sergeant Colon might be able to show us how it's done. They're braking there, probably about the 200 metre board, trying to get back on the power, and he's, I would say that's just about perfect. You can run to the very edge of that yellow and or orange and red curb. As long as you don't head off it, then you'll get yourself a penalty. After that it's flat out up the hill, keeping these corners as straight as possible, and again heading for about 145, 150 miles an hour into a really scary right hand left hand bus stop here. So Colin doing very well there, throwing the car in quite aggressively but keeping it stuck to the tarmac, and now just having to ride the throttle really gently, finding the late apex and then powering out as hard as he can. He's got a penalty to serve here, but he's showing us a fantastic racing line so far as he heads into the final two corners. We should be doing about 135 ideally without the penalties. Slamming on the brakes down to fourth, throwing the car in once more. You can run a little bit wide as he did at turn one if he wants to, and then this corner can be quite difficult to find the apex, especially with the pit lane line kind of throwing a bit of a spanner in the works there, but Cohen's done a great job to avoid the wall on the exit. He's going to cross the line with a 1:15.7, taking into account his penalty, but as you see there, Matt, a 1:13.9 as a provisional practice time is definitely going to be one to watch. Elite there is half a second off the pace at the moment.
Right, so we've got an update on the standing. So joint 8th place at the moment. As Elite Digits is not included in the points this evening as he is a guest driver, but joint 8th is Sergeant Colon and Big Crazy Bertie with 27 points apiece. Then in 7th we have Voodoo on 29, Keeney on 30, Kakalele in 5th with 40 points, Urban in 4th with 43 points, Chris Char in 3rd with 48 points, Dog in 2nd with 54 points, and Matt 237 in 1st with 58 points. It's all to play for the top three guys there. Possibly Urban may even sneak into the top three this evening.
Fantastic. Remind us again, what is the spread across the top three drivers?
Point wise, the top three is 10 points between them at the moment.
So only 10 points separating our top three drivers. It's Not as much a foregone conclusion as maybe this year's F1 calendar, but it will be much more interesting, I can promise you that much. Hocker saying that Lanks, that's some quick maths. Urban for podium.
Urban for the podium. And in the time I was waiting, I could have set the grid, but you know, I'm a terrible lobby host, unfortunately.
That's okay, then it's just as well we've got an encyclopedia of racing circuit knowledge at your disposal here, and I'm definitely not googling Watkins Glen to try and make up for some lost time. Let's have a look. Watkins Glen, nicknamed the Glen, in the town of Dix. There you go, one for you guys at home. Outside the town of Watkins Glen in New York. So it used to host the Formula 1 US Grand Prix for about 20 years, and most popular now for IndyCar, Trans Am, Can-Am, and of course NASCAR.
So another 20 seconds will be there.
Excellent, let's try and stall for 20 seconds then. IMSA, of course, notoriously racing here back in the 80s as well. I'm sure we would have seen many cover Audi. Is it the Audi 90? I think it was called at the time.
Back in the day, yeah.
The Audi 90, maybe a couple of older Nissans as well. The current lap record on the short circuit held by Davy Jones, not of pirate fame. But in the Jaguar XJR14 from 1992, a blistering lap time of 59.9 seconds. I'm not sure we're going to see the Suzuki Swift quite meet that tonight.
Alright, the race is about to start.
So I think we'll jump on board then. I do apologise, clear my throat. So we jump aboard then with Voodoo, who finds himself on pole position. We've got 5 red lights. Lights are off and the race is on. Voodoo not with the best start off the grid there. Keeney has launched very aggressively there into P2, as has, I think that is, Elite Digits. A great launch from him up into P5. There is a lot of door banging though. I can't see anyone running wide, fortunately, so hopefully no penalties on the exit of T1.
Now looks all fairly clean here. We've got Dog making 2 moves on Kakalele and Matt into turn 2 there, and we've got Matt making a move back on there. Who's going to get the slipstream here off of Urban Fire to make the move into the bus stop?
Well, this is going to be crucial as well if they have to take different lines, as White Tiger has just mentioned. There's a good chance of picking up penalties here at the chicane, at the bus stop, let alone of any spinning or grass clipping and off-track excursions there. Again, I think we might just have been okay for this one, but of course once we get to lap 2 and 3 where they start trying to maybe explore the track limits a little bit more and be a bit braver, as Dog I think has been ruined around the outside there by Matt, and almost got Kakalele up his outside as well into the final turn.
Oh, and poor Keane, who started second in this race, has picked up a half-second penalty, and unfortunately that's really going to cost him at this circuit.
Yeah, it's the absolute worst time to do it on lap 1. We're all still bunched up together, and that is going to be just accentuated down that long back straight there. That half second's probably going to feel more like 2 or even 3 by the time he's finished serving it back up to racing speed. Speaking of racing speed, it looks like Matt is looking for the inside of Keeney, but he's not made it work there. In the background, someone has run fairly wide. I couldn't quite tell who that was. Might well have been Kakalele or Dog, and that could well be a penalty. It is Dog indeed, a half second for Dog. He'll serve that on the next lap.
Yeah, quite intense racing here, with especially the rear 5 guys here. They're all so close together and jostling for position.
Meanwhile, it looks like Voodoo is finding himself at home in America. He's got that half-second gap over Elite Digits. Really aggressive through the bus stop there, but very close to running off track there at the exit. Someone else gone quite wide behind. I think that might have been Chris Char, maybe going for an ultra late apex, super wide and slingshot down the straight. I don't think it's quite worked for him though, but also, as we say, not quite working for Keeney. He serves his penalty. He loses 1, 2, 3. Will that be a 4th from Urban Fire? I think it just about will, as he sends it on the inside. 4 places down from Keeney, 5th to 9th.
Yeah, I just see that. Unfortunately for Keeney, that half-second penalty on that first lap's really cost him there. Hopefully he can put the fight on and gain a couple of positions back, especially with Dutchy barking orders in his ear.
Of course, like if anything motivates you to drive faster, it's the angry tones of Play Dutchy. But maybe not before Dog has a sniff up the inside there. That's another accidental dog pun. Dog and a sniff. Colon's got a penalty. Where's Colon? He's in P7. That is, that's 1 second. He's not going to be enjoying that when he comes round for the end of lap 3. But it's still good to see, even for lap 3, everyone's still fairly close. Elite is down in P7, so he must have had a bit of an off somewhere.
Yeah, a bit of an off. He was up into second place, fighting for first.
Maybe he's had an altercation with Barry.
Mr. Barry R.
Indeed, he's he's in 6th for the time being, but he's on the outside of the bus stop, not where you want to be. And is Urban Fire going to go for a brawl move around the outside? He's thinking about it. Look at him go. He's tucking back in though for the late apex, and it looks like Dog's going to go back up the inside of Keeney. Saying Voodoo also lost the lead. Thanks for pointing that out there, White Tiger. Chris Shah is now in the lead, and by quite some way, almost 2 seconds already. This will be a great points haul for Chris if he can keep this clean.
Yeah, for sure. He'll definitely be dragging in, especially as Matt has got half a second penalty, so he's going to be falling down the order. And Dog is at the rear of the pack, so, you know, Chris Shaw could take over this championship standing this evening.
That was a late lunge there from Elite into the last turn, but he didn't go for it in the end. But just behind him, though, it looks like Dog's going to try and make a move on Urban Fire. He's up the inside, leaves him space, and a good move there from Dog. Keeney running fairly wide there on the exit of turn 1, but he's got a little bit more momentum, I think, and now he's on the back of Urban Fire as well. We're going to jump on board with Keeney and see if there's anything to make of it. Elite, though, with a 1 second penalty just ahead of Dog, and that's going to really hurt when he gets round the long right-hand sweeper.
I didn't quite realise we were back in Austria with all these penalties that are being served at the moment.
Oh, Urban Fire making contact with Dog in the braking zone of the bus stop. That's backed Keeney right up into him, but I think Keeney having to slam the brakes on avoid causing an incident. It's now given that time back there. Dog maybe not having to be so urgent to get past Elite, knowing he's got the penalty. In front of him, Matt serving his penalty as well. We're going to watch here as Dog flies past Elite like he isn't even there. Is there a move to make on Matt into the braking zone? If there is, it's late. No, he's lifting off instead.
He could have gone for, he could have showed his nose there just to unsettle Matt a little bit, but he thought better of it.
Of course, if he run wide there, he might got another penalty, but he has had a fantastic exit out of the final turn, maybe just in a much better kind of mental state following the racing line for the whole lap.
Yeah, Matt's gone defensive there.
Matt is going very defensive with that. Will compromise him though on the exit. Dog might go for an undercut or just to keep the momentum through the corner. Matt's gone very wide, but I think he did keep 2 wheels on the curb. They're squabbling behind as well as Keeney's got a half second penalty. Elite Digits up his inside. Colon's going to go around the outside. And there was almost there were 3 wide. I saw Keeney lifting off the throttle there just to make sure there was no contact. Colin and Elite are still going tooth and nail into the bus stop here. Colin moves to the outside, just showing his nose. That's not a move on there, surely. Oh, he's tried to straight line it, but Elite's gone wide. He's scared Elite into the dirt.
Oh, Elite's gone flying off there. I just caught that. I was watching our American cousins battling it out for 2nd and 3rd place there. Kakalele and Voodoo are really putting the pressure on each other. It's great to see at the front.
Let's see, of course, we'll Kakalele racing with the American flag, but we'll quite proudly tell you he's from Trinidad. He's most displeased it's not represented by Gran Turismo. Polyphony, sort that out, please. We want to see Trinidad on the flags. Trinidad and Tobago. Matt there running very wide on the exit of the last corner. I believe that is allowed as long as he cuts in before the end of the striped curve. And that's giving just a little bit of an edge there over Dog, I think, into the straight and down into turn 1. Let's see how they manage this one. They're all being a bit more conservative there. I think that was Bertie using all of the track width he's allowed, and he should still be okay and penalty free. But that's really how you've got to take the corner and run to the very edge of the stripe and make sure you can keep momentum up the hill. Because any time you lose at turn 1, it will happen all the way down to the bus stop. And Urban Fire, I think, has sniffed maybe on a bit of a dodgy line up the hill. He's looking for a move maybe behind Bertie into the bus stop. Oh, he's showing his nose. He's late on the brakes. Is he going to go for a switchback? No, Bertie's shut that one off. Urban loads have run up out of the bus stop there. Bertie's gone wide. Urban Fire's going to cut back underneath. It's going to be close. He is now side by side. A little door banging again. Bertie's gone wide. Keeps it on the track. Urban Fire's now into 6th, but they're still side by side. Urban Fire's now clearly ahead of Bertie. Bertie, I think, would do well not to fight this. Maybe use Urban Fire to bring him back up towards the battling pack in front. There's 3 of them, all sides across the track there.
Yeah, it was a great move by Urban there. He worked on it all the way from the bus stop into the long hairpin there. We've had a bit of movement at the front as well. Surprisingly, well, unsurprisingly, Matt and Dog have both made their way back up from the back of the pack. The penalties that have been served obviously worked in their favour to be able to get into the top 5 for this race.
So Matt, you are completely right there, is into 3rd, but with a half-second penalty to serve on the next lap. There's White Tiger just commenting in there. Matt 3rd, Dog 4th, and Voodoo's gone down as a result. Just behind them, Voodoo is now having to, rather than fight for the podium, he's got to fight for P4 and be the best of the rest. But with a charging Dog coming back from P5, it's not going to be an easy feat. Urban Fire, though, as well. I don't want to laugh, but he has put on a really great race. He's suddenly switched on from race 2. Seemed to really find his knack of the Swift now. And he's going to maybe even be knocking on the Dog's door in a couple of corners' time.
Come out.
Yes, you can tell he's motivating himself with his variety of Dutch swear words he picked up earlier this evening. So as we head on to lap 8, this is probably going to be the last lap for our field, if not maybe one right at the end for the guys, maybe in P1 and 2. Chris is 5.5 seconds away. What a huge lead he's built there over Kakalele. Kakalele's doing well though in 2nd with a 1.2 second lead. Matt is in 3rd. Voodoo was defending again from Dog, I think, but he's still got P4 by the skin of his teeth. Dog in 5th, same distance from him. Voodoo in front and Urban Fire behind. Urban Fire's got a half-second cushion to Bertie in 7th. Carol's down the field in 8th, and a 1-second penalty might give Elite Digits P8 as they head onto the last lap. Keeney, unfortunately, at the back of the pack. He's not had a great showing here at Watkins Glen, but there's still got a chance to rack up some points in our final race tonight.
Yeah, well, Sargent's picked up a big penalty there, 1 second, so it looks like it could allow Elite back in there.
I just saw Voodoo heading off track at the exit of the bus stop. Unfortunately, he's picked up a half-second penalty for, even though he's lost time already, and that's also cost him about 3 places there, from 4th down to 7th. Colon serves the penalty behind. Elite will be charging onto the back of him. Look at the overspeed, another 30 miles an hour. Elite blitzes Sergeant Colon down the straight, nails the brakes and takes 8th place as they head onto over the finish line. Chris Shah, I think, has got a little victory lap there for himself. Kakalele will take 2nd, Matt 3rd, Dog 4th, Urban Fire 5th, Bertie just behind in 6th, Voodoo's is 7th. Elite takes 8th from Colon by about half a second. Colon 9th, Keeney in 10th place. And I guess this is another victory lap for Chris. That's really a great points haul for him. Kakalele doing a great job as well to secure 2nd. Really proud to see him on the podium. Yeah,
it's really going to draw in the points positions for Chris, which I think he may take 2nd place in this evening's championship standings. But for the next race, what we're actually going to do, instead of a reverse grid, we're going to do a reverse championship order.
Oh, that's going to mix things up then. So I guess we're expecting to see Chris, Dog and Matt near the back of the field.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens once I've totaled everything up while we wait for Chris to finish off his little victory lap.
And you can see there Chris really going aggressive throughout the whole race. So many laps there in the 1:13s with a 1:13.7 on his previous lap, even though it didn't even matter, going as hard as he could for that one and crossing the line to take P1. Great racing there from Chris Shah, who I think as well, if I remember rightly, found himself thinking P9 at the start of that.
I believe he did, yes.
Urban Fire saying, loving tonight, great fun. It is great fun. I'm sure it's great fun to participate. It's a great enjoyment and pleasure to commentate on. And I'm slightly disappointed we've only got one more race left, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's been a busy evening, but it's gone. Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. So, ladies in the comments there saying great stuff, Urban. It was indeed a fantastic showing from Urban and many of the drivers tonight here. Again, big shout outs going to Kakalele for securing a podium spot tonight. Maybe not the win I was hoping for, but he really fought for that one. So we've got one race left. Lancaster, where are we going to be?
We're heading to one of the newer circuits in Gran Turismo, well, one of the newer layouts, and that's Catalonia, so Barcelona.
And if that's the newer Barcelona layout, following tonight's trends, I'm assuming it's not the no chicane one at the end.
No, it's not. So it's going to be the new national layout. Well, I say new, but new to Gran Turismo.
And the national one will be the short one, I assume.
It is indeed.
Excellent. So one thing that I'm sure our drivers will have to consider tonight is going to be the fact that the braking markers on the left side of the track down the straight are not going to represent the accurate distance for the turn, because this one will verge off to the right just after the pit exit, and then they'll resume the track at the uphill S's before the final sector of the main Gr.4 layout. So where if it says 300 metres on the left, that's not 300, it's probably only about 100. So to make sure they hit the brakes. Again, penalties could still be an issue here, especially with those dastardly chicanes towards the end of the lap. Any kind of even breathing the wrong side of that sausage curb will get you a half-second penalty, and especially so on that long right-hander down the hill into the heavy braking left-hand hairpin. It's notorious for earning penalties on that wide right-hander. So to those of you who are still tuning in or tuning in late, it is SuperSquid in the booth once again with the Amigos racing team, joined by Lancaster for the finale of the ART Academy. We're hosting a 5-round Suzuki Swift Group 4 Cup. And Lancaster, as we round out tonight's series, what have you thought? What are your thoughts? What are your ideas?
Oh, it's been great. I'm glad it's worked out this evening, because obviously with the previous races that we've done with the Academy, we were just looking at one or two different things, so either tyre wear or fuel wear, wet weather driving, different driving styles over the last few months that we've been trying to teach these drivers. They've just obviously step up their game, but tonight was just all about elbows out racing, and yeah, just to see who's the fastest. And looking at the points, it's worked out roughly to where I thought it would be so far. But yeah, it's been a great evening.
Would you kind of give us an insight into the points as we head into the final round?
Well, I won't give you the points, but what you will see is the championship order once I've set the grid, because it's going to be a reverse championship order for this race.
So we're going to do an FIA and save some of the spectacle for the end.
Oh yeah, we'll do the Netflix and chill with them. So.
Well, they do say that if you have the most points, you will win the championship.
Oh, for sure.
White Tiger saying also, it's just nice that there's been a little amount of lag in the lobby. Maybe there was an improvement in the update. I mean, we can all dream. If you check the settings though, perhaps maybe we've taken off the visible damage is on, because I normally turn that off to about the lag, but maybe that's not a factor.
No, we've been playing around with it since the little update that happened the other week, and we noticed it didn't make much of a difference. So I've kept it on for this evening for the spectacle.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully we won't see these little Swifts getting too dented and mangled as we head on to our last race. Let's have a look, see if there's anyone doing about to start their flying lap. There's Dog, so one of our championship contenders for tonight, if we assume the points are as we think they are. So if we run on board then with Dog, you see there's a braking board there. It's a 200 metre board, is really your turning point rather than your braking point there. And you can see we cut off the whole first sector, that chicane at the start, this long right-hander, and into this section here up the hill. Again, it's easy to get a penalty there on the exit of that that exit right-hander there, cutting too much of the curb. Just feathering the throttle through here, nice and wide, but not too wide. That's a great job there by Dog to model that one perfectly for us. And then it's a drag down to the polyphony hoarding there, braking just before the shadow on the ground there, using third gear to keep the car glued to the road while pulling through onto the exit, flat out over that little apex there, and again trying to balance the car on this long right hander, washing out nice and wide onto the exit curb, almost into fourth gear, but big slam on the brakes again. And now this is where the Swift, only weighing about 1,000 kilos, really plays into its into the hands of the track there, nice and nimble through the chicane, using just off the exit curb and then tucking it back into the apex, washing out nice and wide over the curb and across the line. We're looking really for any laps between, say, maybe 1:14, maybe 1:14.8 and 1:15.5, and Dog doing exactly that there with a 1:15.2 as a practice lap.
Alright, let's get this one underway.
Alright, so for the last time tonight, 10 minutes of or swift racing. So I should have said that one maybe 4 races ago. Elite Digits, as his points aren't counting, will be starting on pole. Sergeant Colon in second, Bertie and Keeney on the second row, third and fourth, Voodoo and Urban Fire in fifth and sixth respectively. We've got our 5 red lights. Lights are off, race is on. Elite with another good getaway there. Colon matching him almost stride for stride as they hurtle down towards the first corner. White Tiger there in the chats. Go, go, go! Elite there cuts the nose right off of Sergeant Colon to keep P1. Bertie though doing well to keep third place there. Keeney in fourth. I think Urban Fire must have had some kind of off. He's in the gravel. Kakalele as well, as Urban and Kakalele drop in places there. We've got another car in the dirt. That's Keeney.
Matt has gained 5 positions in the first 3 corners.
You must be joking. Where is Matt? Let me see if we can get a replay this quickly. So yeah, he's 8th there. Urban goes off, so that's another 2 places there. And Matt, I think, just being more assertive in his driving, cuts the nose off about 3 cars in the middle sector, and as you say, he takes about 3 places just in 1 corner.
Well, we got a few penalties here as well. So we got Chris Char, Voodoo, and Sarge, all with half-second penalties by running wide.
Of course, the penalty zone here, I believe, is on the main straight, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it is, right near towards the start, so they're going to drop back again here.
That is going to be a huge speed deficit there, especially as they start the next lap. They're just going to be slow all the way through. You see, just over the timing line is the penalty zone. If we watch on here with Voodoo, as he serves his penalty, I think someone behind him's got one. I think it said Chris Char. Voodoo's going to lose 5th place there, maybe not 7th, but it looks like it's going to cost him there some time to Dog. Matt there as well, being ahead of Dog on this lap as Voodoo and Chris are door banging into turn 1. That's really going to put the pressure on Dog. And in fact, I'd assume all 3 of our championship leaders are 4th, 5th and 6th, so they're all in each other's sights.
Yeah, they are. So obviously, as it stands, Matt was obviously this evening's championship order. It was Matt, Chris and then Dog. So as it stands at the minute, Matt will be taking the victory this evening. That's
a very brave move up the inside of Sergeant Colon there, and I think he scared Bertie wide as well. So Bertie has lost about, I think, 2 places there, maybe another one depending on where Dog is. Dog is just behind, so no deal there, but he's still on the inside of Bertie, and Colon with a 1-second penalty to serve on the home straight means that's almost as good as it could be for Dog. Bertie though on the grass, he's gone very wide there, having maybe broken on the grass and lost all control. He's trying to drive slowly to get on the track, but in fact he's stopped, and I'm not too sure what's happening. He's been reset back onto the chicane, and Bertie now at the back of the pack, so Colon back up into 3rd. Matt will be in 2nd as Colon, I think, serves his penalty as well. Dog up into 3rd. Where is Chris Shah? He's now gotten past as well. Colon dives back onto the racing line to defend 5th place as Voodoo comes down in 6th. So now, in the space of another few corners, our top 3 championship drivers are now only 1 step off the podium.
Yeah, these boys have all been like rats up a drain pipe this evening by trying to climb up the order from the back of the grid, and they've pulled that off within the first couple of laps of this race.
Of course, I think with a track like this where there aren't lots of opportunities to overtake, even on the full circuit, it's even more important that when you spot a move, you spot an opportunity, you send it and go for it. And it looks like Colin was trying to do that there on Chris Char, but to no avail. Colin in the comments there saying, are you worried, Elite? Because they're all coming for you. Well, Elite should be worried. He's got a half-second penalty, and Matt only 3/10 back. As I think Elite might have jumped the barrier, jumped the chicane there. He did indeed. That's another half-second. So 1 second penalty, and that will comfortably put Matt in the lead. Elite sensibly pulling off of the racing line. But if we jump into his car, there goes Matt. If we look in our mirrors, where is Dog? Here comes Dog on the outside there. I think it's unfair for Elite to try and defend that too early, and he will have to settle for 3rd place. White Tiger says, told you. So Elite now into 3rd, and Chris is now within a second, just in touchy distance. Colin, I think, just nibbling the grass there on the exit of turn 1, but fortunately no serious consequences.
Yeah, I think Colon's getting a little bit overexcited by trying to get a move in there on Chris Char. just keep it calm, get your upshifts in early out of the corners, and you'll keep the wheels.
I think Chris Charge ran a bit wide there on the exit. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think it looks like he just went over the curb, but I think he's been okay, and more to the point, that's bought him another tenth or two in the middle sector. Dog with the fast lap so far, 1:14.9. This could be a 1:14.8 or 7 if Chris Char keeps this momentum. He's doing really well so far.
Second penalty.
Dog's got a half-second penalty. I can't see it on the moment. Might see it as we head up the pack a little bit. Yes, Dog does have the half-second penalty. Hopefully no more than that as he heads through the chicane, being very conservative there against the rumble strips. But this should put Elite up into third and possibly, well, into second, sorry, and possibly Chris Char into third. We'll have to see as they head over the line. We're going to ride on board then with Chris Char. Dog there moving across the line. Chris there with a 1:14.6. So Elite will go back past Dog on the outside. It's going to be very close into turn one. Dog moving across to brake. There's almost contact. That's so incredibly close. But Chris Char backs out sensibly. And this Dog is not down yet. So we've now got a three-way fight for the best of the rest as Matt237 now sees his chance to fly away with this race. He is 1.8 seconds to the good against Elite Digits. Again, we know his points will not count for tonight, but I'm sure Elite, he's not going to settle for being just a spectator in this. He wants to have some fun. He's going to be the cork in the bottle if need be. And of course that could bring Colon back into the mix as well if he keeps them busy for too long.
Looks like Sargent's picked himself up another 1 second penalty there, so it's going to drop him into the clutches of Kakalele and possibly Voodoo.
Another 1 second penalty. That is really not going his way tonight. Not at all. Can be really careful with these track limits here, especially this last corner as well. So easy to run over that yellow curb and pick up another half second. We'll jump on board then with Kakalele. Actually, we'll jump on with Voodoo. Let's see if he makes any gains there. Colon moving towards the pit wall to serve his penalty. Kakalele is really bearing down there on Sergeant Colon. Colon moving across to defend, but it's already too late for him there. Kakalele ahead into the braking zone, takes P5, Colon down to P6.
And we got Chris and Dog at it again through the S bend here.
We'll jump to that one now. We can see they are starting to kind of nibble at each other's feet there. I think Elite just clipped the dust there, but I think he's been okay. Dog, though, has got a half second penalty, so that's going to slip him a little bit further away from Chris Char, a little bit further away from those crucial points that he needs to at least keep maybe second or third in this final series. We go a little bit further back down the pack, you can see things are starting to heat up behind Kakalele. He's got Sergeant Colon 8 tenths behind him there. Colon having served that penalty. Voodoo is starting to draw up behind him as well. So Colon maybe now starting to feel a little bit of the pressure, having racked up those penalties early and thrown away some key positions in the race. Now needs to really get his head screwed back on and try and fight for P5.
There's been some good scraps in this race here. Unfortunately, again, the guy's picking up a couple of penalties, but as the field has played out, we've got a couple of little groups here. We've got a group out in front and a group in the middle as well, battling it out for key points and positions.
It's good. It's good to see even that, you know, with the kind of the semi-mixed ability levels that we have here, that we can still see some really close, enjoyable, and I think more importantly, some clean, respectful racing as well. Because I think we're all quite sick of the daily races doing our heads in.
So we've got Chris Char on Elite. Oh, Elite's just picked up a half second penalty. So
Sergeant Colon's picked up a 1 second penalty.
Oh, again. Oh.
And maybe more. He's gone wide again at the right-hander down the hill. Let's have a look. He definitely cleared the curbs there. In fact, I think he's just about kept it this time, but that's definitely going to put him behind Voodoo.
Say Urban's not been involved much in this race apart from dropping down the field, hasn't he, tonight?
No, he's been a bit of a spectator for this final round, but I'm sure White Tiger will be the first one to tell us in the comments that he's back on form. So Elite then heading round through to the final corner again. He got that half second penalty, so Chris Char should comfortably clear him. I'm not sure if Dog is close enough to make a jump on that as well. In fact, Elite's got that up to a 1 second penalty, so possibly another incident there over the final chicanes, and that will allow Dog right in touching distance, and I think past him into the braking zone just ahead as he slams on the anchors. Elite looking up the inside, a very late sniff there, but Elite is going to have to hang back for the moment. It's still, though, very, very close there to those twin pipes on the back of the Suzuki.
Yeah, there certainly are potato cannons on the back of this car.
Definitely are more pops and bangs than East
Oh,
London.
Elite has picked another half a second penalty up again.
Another one. He's going to be absolutely killing himself with that one. I think he was leading this race fairly comfortably at one point, and now the penalties are starting to creep in. And on the last lap as well for him, I was just getting complete, not even noticed the time. This could even cost him P4 if Kakalele has a good middle sector. It's going to be a close one, because that half second will probably bump up to a second as he crosses the line.
I think we're going to have to start paying royalties to DJ Khaled if we get any more penalties this evening.
It has, it's been another one. Fortunately, he's not the best. The best, I think, will probably be this guy here, Matt237, coming over the line to take another win in the Amigos Racing Team Academy. Chris Charr just beating AITC Dog to third. Elite with his 1 second penalty will add to his finish time, but it will not be enough to keep Kakalele into P4. He's fifth. Voodoo is sixth, having beaten Colon, I think, with a penalty as well. Urban Fire in eighth. Keeney coming home in ninth, and Bertie unfortunately not having a great time. A 2 second penalty as he crosses the finish.
Yeah,
So
it's been good racing there.
It's been some incredible racing tonight, and a real privilege to be able to share it with you guys watching at home. I think the only thing left to do then is to let Langster do the maths, and we'll find out who our winner is in a few moments. Place your bets in the comments.
Well, we've got some driver interviews to do as well, so we could pop over to the actual lobby to see if we can chat to any of the drivers, and then I'll announce the results to them.
Of course. Well, in that case, I'll jump into the lobby and let's see if we can have a word with some of the cast and crew of tonight's spectacular. Let's find the party chat. Good evening, guys. You are live on Amigos Racing Team Media. Please keep it clean as you do on track. I'm just picking up a little bit of an echo. I'm not too sure what it is. It might be Kakalele, I think. Or maybe Urban.
Hello.
Oh, I think it might have been Colon. It's gone now. Sorry, Colon. Okay, so let's see, Langster, who are we looking to talk to first tonight, do you think?
Who's still in here this evening? Let's go with... Sorry, go with Sarge.
Yes, Mr. Colon. Sergeant Colon, are you there?
I'm here indeed, yes.
Okay, let's hope our voice is shared for this evening's proceedings and viewers at home. What have you made of the ART Academy experience? Because I would say that you're one of the most improved drivers since the scheme took place initially.
Absolutely, yeah. With the normal races each week as they went on, I was able to practice a lot and felt a lot more comfortable. And with some just minor direction, sometimes major in Dutch's case, I was able to feel more and more comfortable and get some speed going and feel like I was actually driving it properly.
And has there been a particular rival you've had in mind since you started with the academy?
No, not really.
He's in a league of his own then, ladies and gents. Thanks for that then, Colin. Anyone else we can talk to then, Langster? No, good talk. In that case, let's see if we can maybe grab Voodoo. Are you there, Voodoo? How are you doing, sir? I'm sure it's been a good afternoon there for the time being. What have you made of the academy experience? And who's been your mentor throughout the experience? Well, that's good to hear some friendly competition. I suppose while he's there on the microphone at Urban Fire, or Thursday again, thanks for helping to put this one together. It's been a great success, I'm sure, and some great success for you this evening, I must say. So 2 podiums, you must be feeling great about those.
Yeah, totally unexpected, mate. As a lot of people know, I don't really test very hard as much as these guys. That they deserve all the points, but my Tuesday sprint knowledge, I guess, was coming back to help tonight. We've now not having to worry about tyre wear and stuff. So, yeah, happy with that, mate. Great night.
Excellent. Well, you must be the happiest man in Birmingham. Well, that's probably not saying much. And so I've got to have my one dig, haven't I? Let's find Chris Char. Are you there, Chris? What do you make of your experience in the academy? So what do you think is the most valuable lesson you've learned from academy racing? Bear in mind you've had wet weather driving, tyre saving, fuel saving, general racecraft. What do you think you've picked up, and has it improved your game the most? Well, that's very detailed. I'm sure that's a real strength that you can take with you to almost any circuit, as you did tonight with some fantastic results for yourself. Right, I guess Lancaster, you got some points to reveal to us? I guess not. We'll stall for a little bit more time then.
Squid, can I just say?
Go on, Urban.
I think Lanks has spent a lot of time just lately putting all this stuff together. I know he's got some heavy treatment coming up, so I just want to wish everybody from ART all the best for Lanks, mate.
Oh, of course, that's a great fair point. And I think also Elite, if he's still in the chat as well, if he's gone off to do his own thing.
Yeah, obviously.
Again, big shout out to Lancaster Elite dealing with their issues with the Big C. We won't dwell on it too much, but we raised a huge amount of money for Cancer Research UK a few months ago, and of course we wish them and their families the very best at what could be an unimaginably difficult and annoying part of their lives.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you, everyone. Right.
I don't know. I found tonight quite a difficult and annoying.
He is still there. He's still there. Elite, what happened, man? I gave you the gift of starting on first place. What happened?
I don't know. I've got cramps in my hands and no excuse. I'm sorry for anyone that I rammed into.
Okay, his X button must have deflated.
Still a bit rusty.
Did you enjoy this evening?
Thanks for letting me race with you anyway.
No, thanks for coming, Elite. It was a pleasure to have you in this evening.
All right. Do we have any points then?
Yeah, of course we do. We've been sitting on it for a little while. So,
well, I've been waiting for you. I've just been getting blanked.
I know. No, sorry. I did not realise I actually moved my mic to the mute position. So I started talking. And I was like, yeah, they can't hear me, can they? So.
All right. Well, floor's yours.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So, obviously, this is just points for this evening, guys. Obviously, the ordinary points will be dished out for standing positions towards the Art Academy. This was just like a little challenge in between. So for this evening, in 9th place we've got Big Crazy Bertie on 44 points. In 8th we've got Keeney on 45. In 7th we've got Sarge on 45, so it's a joint position there. So I'll have to discuss that with the mods and work out who had the best positions overall, to see who actually gets the actual correct points there. Voodoo on 49 in 6th place. Urban in 5th with 63. 4th is Kakalele. He's had a brilliant evening with 73 points. Then our top 3 for this evening is Dog in 3rd on 83 points. In 2nd we've got Chris Char on 93 points. And our overall winner this evening is Matt237 on 99 points.
Oh, what a Matt.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, a fantastic outing by everyone involved there. Of course, congratulations to our top 3. And Langston, I'll be right in assuming that those points will be translated into Academy League points across the whole thing?
Yeah, so correct. So basically Matt will be getting 25 points for this round, and that will cascade down to everyone else that took part this evening. So, which is obviously the normal points that we use. But yeah, other than that, I think the next round is going to take place some point at the end of June, which Hockers and Dutchy are going to arrange, as I will not be available. But we'll see what them guys have got in store for the next round.
Excellent. And are there any other drivers you want us to have a chat with before we sign off for tonight?
Well, if Dog and Matt are there, obviously have a quick chat with them too, because they've obviously had a great rivalry all season, and once again, I just want to thank them live on air for stepping in against Race Asylum again over at the weekend. You really did felt well for us there, guys.
Well, we'll catch up with Dog then, who I think was P3 in the series, I believe. Dog, how have you found the academy? How's it helped you racing?
No,
we
you're
can
on,
hear
mate.
you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And is there a particular part of your racing you think's improved the most? Some more smoothness in the inputs. Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, as obviously one of the so-called aliens in the group of drivers that we have, I've noticed, especially Matt, Chris Char, and Dog, their driving has improved massively when they race in Tier 1 with us on a Monday night. And obviously that's all come from racing in Academy, and you guys put up such a great defensive work that has really held me back, unfortunately, in some of the races. Because I spend corner after corner chasing after you and then trying to get the move on you. You guys have improved so much over the last 6 months. It's incredible to see.
And I suppose a quick chat with our winner for tonight then, Matt237. Are you there, Matt?
Yes, I am.
How's this experience been for you overall? You've been a fairly kind of consistent winner across the academy races we've seen in the last few months, but it can't all have been plain sailing, surely.
No, it's basically all down to practice before each event. I was a bit concerned about tonight's event with the last minute tracks and car setup, so I didn't really get a chance to practice, but as I've improved over the months, it made it easier to be faster tonight.
Excellent. And do you think this is going to put you in a good stead to win the Academy Series outright, or you think you've still got a couple of challenges left?
I think Dog's my biggest challenger. If I have an off night and he wins and things like that, he can soon catch the points back up, and Chris as well. He's come on later in the series, so he's a dark horse, sort of like to catch us if there's any off nights or crashes or things like that where I don't finish near the front.
Well, it's good to know that you're going to be on your toes for the remainder of the Academy run.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess with all that being said then, I guess it's about time to wrap things up. So if we get maybe a quick goodbye from our drivers would be great.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
No problem.
Good night.
We'll get a
Good night,
little...
everyone.
We'll get a quick goodbye from maybe our head coach Dutchy, if he's still there.
I think he fell asleep, mate.
Yeah, I thought I might have heard him snoring a minute ago, so we'll leave him with some sweet dreams. It's probably good night from Lancaster.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Thanks for taking part, guys. I know it's been a long evening and a bit of a shock to the system with the style of racing tonight, but it's what we needed, just to throw some interesting strategies at you that didn't exist this evening. So it was good racing by everyone.
And I guess it's a good night from your boy on the mic, the sim racing crustacean, the SuperSquid. Have a wonderful Thursday evening and a great, I think it's a bank holiday weekend coming up, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy, guys, then. Take care of yourselves and we'll talk to you soon. Amigos Racing Team signing off.
Cheers. Thanks for it.